GM, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is bright and early here on the West Coast.
Yeah, earlier for you. Like for me, I'm like, yeah, grooving into the day, doing some stuff. And for you, you're like, good morning.
I know I barely have my coffee in my
Yeah.
cup, and yeah, it's a whole different ballgame. But we're here.
Wow.
We're showing up. It's Wednesday, which means it's Superchain Spotlight Show day.
Superchain is indeed popping off this week. A lot of cool things I'm excited to talk about.
There is.
Also, we got a guest.
We do have a guest. How exciting is that? And
Yeah.
she's very special. And a lot of the community already know her. But a few folks, especially if you're watching this anywhere other than X, are going to get to meet an amazing human being who has a wonderful daughter named Rainbow. And she was one of the winners of our initiative that we ran for help a few weeks ago, or months ago now at this point, which was our accelerator. So we're going to have her talking about the fundraising campaign that she's doing. And it also involves an exhibit in Times Square for a bunch of artists. So lots of really cool things happening. But it's been a week. And I guess what are you seeing? Anything exciting?
Yeah. So like we've seen, just jumping into the fun, or I guess quick intro.
I guess I should probably give an intro.
Yeah,
right?
no worries. I mean, just if this is your first show and you're not with it yet, we are all about the Superchain. Superchain is kind of like a theme park of wonderful things, of things that are, and it's empowering on-chain things for real. Like gone are the days of like, we're gonna, buy this thing and then one day we might, like it's just happening now. And the Superchain is kind of a great way. It's a layer 2 solution from Ethereum. And so many things are happening daily that we try and round these things up and kind of share, talk to the people that are building the things, talk to the people that are like real life stories of how on-chain is kind of shifting the world, all in of the lens of the Superchain, because there's a lot to keep up with. And it's getting easier and easier by day to just jump in. And so we're here to help just kind of socialize that information, make sure people know about opportunities, and really kind of dispels maybe some uncertainty. And just make sure everybody has a great time on the Superchain.
And there's a reason we're doing this show is because we are both actually building on the Superchain. So we're actually practicing what we preach. We've built help together on the Superchain. We've got a few other initiatives that we're kind of squirreling on. We were part of the Buildathon for On-Chain Summer. So we're actually using the tech, experiencing the tech, seeing the opportunities, seeing the possibilities for creators and builders. So that's why we are here to share it with you.
Yeah, but what's happening this week that has me like pretty excited is we've been talking for a couple of weeks about like there's some interoperability and that's coming, and there's like previews and there's some demos inside now where the Superchain is a bunch of things that have similar foundation, like they have the same technology baked into every layer of the Superchain. Up until now, though, they felt in some ways like floating little islands that all have like the same foundation, which is great. But now we're getting to the point where those islands are now actually interconnected. So if those islands were like islands where lots of things can happen, it's almost like we're getting a mail system now where we can send messages between all of those islands very seamlessly, very inexpensively. And something can happen on one island and it can just be reflected on another island without needing to like do all the things in between. And we're seeing that in something. Someone has kicked out something called SuperSim. And so that's a quick way for developers to...
Is it SuperSim or Superism?
I was calling it sim because it's like simulate. The reason why is because what it is it's a library, to so to speak, where a developer can spin up locally on their machine 2 separate superchains instances and then have them talk between each other. So I can build in like a simulated Superchain environment and make sure everything's good. And then when I'm good, I deploy those things, and now across all of the elements of the Superchain, it just works. And so there's a demo out there where someone spun up just like an example of a tic-tac-toe game, logged in, I think it was on Mode, and logged in on Optimisn, like with 2 different wallets, and they played tic-tac-toe where something was happening literally on Optimisn mainnet and something was happening on Mode mainnet, and then they were playing this game together. So even though they weren't on the same blockchain at all, they were playing together, and both things were being fully transparent through messaging and whatnot like that. So we're getting to the point now where some of these things that we've talked about, like eventually it won't matter what network you're on. this is that finally that turning point where that's happening actually like right now, and
Wow.
there's even more to come that will make it even easier for you to say like, oh, I've got money over here. How do I get my money on this island? And it'll just happen, and you won't have to worry about it. And so, really kind of creating this fun land where all these little islands, so to speak, can focus on their own individual niches and like specialties of things, but you can just exist and you get the benefits of all without the friction of having to like take a boat and take a plane or any of that. Like it just all just happens. And so it's pretty exciting to see it happening real time before us. And that was what made me super excited this week. But of course, there's lots of other things.
I did drop the SuperSim tweet link right below the video as well, so folks
perfect.
can kind of take a look.
It's more of a dev thing, and so like I'm as like a developer, I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. But what's going to happen is you're going to start to see these the terminology they're currently using is like everywhere apps, where you log in and you do a thing, and it's gone. Will be the days of like, oh, you're on this chain, click here to switch. Like it'll just happen, and it won't matter. You can do it on whatever chain you're on within the super chain, and it'll take care of the rest. And so that's pretty awesome to see.
So there was, I know it's a little disconnected, but I was thinking about the news yesterday about, well, they haven't actually come out directly with a statement, but about Foundation. Rodeo, which is kind of the second business from the folks behind Foundation, is built on the Superchain, if I understand correctly.
I believe so, yes.
This is somewhat of a pivot from just kind of direct-to-consumer marketplace. And there was quite a bit of FUD, so maybe should we FUD bust a little bit on this? I know we didn't talk about this off camera, but
where's the FUD coming, I guess?
I guess the FUD is coming from the lack of communication from the platform, because I think what happened was we saw just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, the Instagram account of Foundation was completely stripped of all content, rebranded as rodeo.com or rodeo.io, whatever it is, and as though Foundation is like no more, without any kind of comms from. And I think we've seen that a lot with Web3, right?
Yeah.
Like we build these communities and these ecosystems on trust and community and communicating with those community members. And then, as some people have put it, it's kind of like a soft rug. So it's like, we made a decision over here, but we're not conveying it to you, the community, and just kind of, ta-da, here it is.
Yeah. I think that overall, as a whole, Web3 is bad at communication.
Yes.
Like we desperately need comms people, because I think that there's a void that is we could use to avoid things like this.
Yeah.
And so I don't know the full story yet. I think it's still kind of unfolding. If it is, hey, Foundation is still existing, but we're rebranding and that's it, because it allows us to like go into the market. We've done market research and we found like it was stagnating our growth, and this new name lets us appeal more or communicate an idea more or whatever. Like there might be a reason that is perfectly logical, but if you don't have that cadence of communication with your community, and you've kind of gone away for a bit, or the communication stagnant, and then this happens, the narrative people are writing in their head. If you don't share the narrative, people are going to write their own narratives in their heads, and I think that that's likely what's happening. I'm hoping for the best, that this is something that's like a net positive for everybody, and maybe this is just like a, lots of times you'll see musicians or other artists like blank out their socials and then start to drop something else. Like maybe this was a marketing thing, but because you didn't,
we're all talking about it,
right? Yeah, I guess for better or for worse. But I do think that like, because it's that if you had kind of let your communication linger and to where like people aren't in the loop, and there is a little bit of natural worry when you're seeing other things kind of drop too. Seeing this, people are like, why wouldn't they put things together how they're kind of putting them together if you didn't give them an alternative? So again, hopefully this is something that can some clarity, and then also this just surfaces and shines a light on like, hey, maybe talk to, like, a lot of people are invested in your platform and they enjoy it and they don't want it to just disappear overnight, and or you sold it to somebody and they're rebranding, like nobody knows. And so being a little more clear and out in the open, I think
it's tough, because I think what we've seen, and with just the idea of building out loud as an ethos, right, which is really what I observed very early on. That's what we're doing here. Like, people are building the plane in the air and they're talking about how they're doing it in Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse rooms. with that, while it brings a lot of fun and attention to what you're building, it also brings a lot of accountability that businesses are not used to having, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not used
And I
to
think that's
having.
another thing that's tough too. Is like you don't want like there's like almost like a reluctancy to say like, hey, like the well that we once had, it's like drying up, and so we need to do something else to survive.
Yeah.
Like that's not great. That's not make people excited to use the platform. So I get it that there is like a level of transparency in Web3 for better or for worse for like companies where it can be tough. But I also think like being transparent from the start, like, hey, here's what's going on, and like, hey, we're trying this and we're trying that. You almost start to grow a more strong community that will help be those like flywheels of advertising, like of like, hey, have you seen that? Like what they're doing is really cool. Like I'm really excited about it. But the catch-22, I guess, to that is also now you've got people that like because like not everyone opinion is going to be the golden opinion that maybe somebody else thinks it is, and so then like they're never listening. I've been telling it like you get a bunch of backseat drivers, and so there's this balance I think between being super open and transparent, but then also knowing like at the end of the day like this is a company that I like legally I am bound to like like I'm going to do things that will help sustain us, and I really want the community, but at the same time like I can't do every like opinion. I can't do every like we can't do, but like I think being lean and fast and saying like, oh, actually that idea, like where is that coming from, and digging deeper. Sometimes you can get to like the reason why and actually fix something higher up that doesn't net the same like visual or like where someone can say, I gave them that idea, but you can actually fix the problem higher up that users are experiencing if enough people feel that way. So like I think it's really good to have that kind of like ear to the ground that you don't find anywhere else. So like there's trade-offs, pros and cons, and it can be very, very difficult. But I do think that with a lot of the things that are coming about, it's becoming easier and easier. And so I'm more excited and optimistic than I am like negative on being open and communicative.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put the feelers out, and we're going to try and get somebody from Rodeo to come through.
That'd be great.
That would be
because again, like I'm not gonna be like, no, trust it, it's fine. Like I have no skin in the game. I don't know, but I do think like that is another thing that in addition to like having people that can like, you sure you really want to say it that way? Like sometimes we just blast off a tweet or a Farcaster cast or whatever, and it's just okay. I don't know. Like, all right, that's a thing that happened.
It's such a human thing to do. It's like everybody's saying bad things. Let's do it. Let's get together and like it. People will gather around FUD. Like it just happens. Unfortunately,
it's like one of those like it's a car accident type thing where you're used to like seeing. So sorry, a timer set for something else.
Clock?
I need the most annoying alarm on my phone so that I'm do something about it. If it's just like a groove, I'm just like going to dance instead of it. So I need the most obnoxious. So I apologize.
That's all right. It's awesome, and it actually reminds me that it's 8:15, and now we have a really special guest.
You're welcome.
So
everyone,
thanks.
That was a transition. Yeah, but just I think that it's a twofold thing. Like communication in general is good, and but like how you're communicating and what you're saying is important. And then, but finally, like we're so decentralized where like you could say something pretty plainly, and it makes a lot of sense on one platform, but then someone takes that, regurgitates it, and turns it on like a different platform where you're maybe not like watching. And so it's tough to say like how do we disperse the information, which Good News Show is one of the ones that hopefully can help out with that.
Right. All right, let's talk about help. Really quick intro before we welcome our special guest. So you and I collaborated on an idea that we had earlier this year because we were seeing some things that were just frustrating for causes, not being able to raise funds on chain. Created a solution, submitted it to the Buildathon, actually won the Buildathon during On-Chain Summer in the payments track. We were one of 10 winners, which was out of how many? There was over 1,000 projects, right?
I don't know. I pat ourselves on. We won. Hooray! But I do think there was a ton of projects that were submitted, and then through voting and the judging and stuff they picked. So honored to be one of the 10.
Honored. Surprised.
Yes.
But we did put a lot of work in over the summer period. But also what was really exciting was that funding that we won allowed us to be able to put together an accelerator program where we welcomed some causes. And we were able to actually award a little bit of funding to 2 causes that came out of this and really just gave their all. And the overall winner of that project, of the accelerator was Rainbow Mosho, who is just incredible. And her mom is joining us now, who is just a wonderful person. So we're going to bring her right up. So GM mom, how
GM.
are you?
GM, Rachel and Brooks, help me, please.
Send Well, first of all, it's so good to see your face this morning because we are just in awe of both you and Rainbow and the energy and the just relentless pursuit of awesomeness that the two of you have. So, just flowers to you, first of all, for bringing so much wonderful energy.
Thank you. Thank you. This morning, I got this note that said, "You are my dose of healthy sunshine this morning." And that just melted my heart. And I am glad that my daughter and I, Rainbow Mosho, we can do that because that as we are giving, we're also receiving. And this is a part of this whole process. And this is a part of what you are doing with Send Help. You know, you are giving, you're opening doors, we receive, and we're also giving back. So that's super exciting.
So why don't you tell our audience who might be watching this and are not on crypto Twitter and so don't see your wonderful, colorful posts, like just give us a general intro as to who you are, who Rainbow is, and why and how you got into this crazy Web3 ecosystem.
Definitely. I am Yadira Calderon. I am a parent of a 16-year-old artist, author, entrepreneur, and so much more. Like she says, she's on the autism spectrum. Her name is Rainbow Mosho. And we have been around this wonderful world of Web3 for almost 3 years now. I am not a techie. I have this very diverse, wonderful background with languages, diplomacy, etc. But something was calling me as I kept watching the news early 2021 with NFT projects, and art above all, because that's what Rainbow does. Rainbow is an artist, she's a creator. And of course, the dollar signs that were bouncing all over with these incredible stories, it was so impressive. So I approached a local arts and business council and I said, "Hey, are you putting together any workshops about NFTs? Can you share some information about that?" And the response was very standoffish. And the response was like, "Oh, they're not environmentally friendly, so you need to be careful about that." And I'm like, "Okay, fine. Thank you for the information." And I moved on, and I kept reading and I kept hearing more and more. The summer of 2021, which was spectacular for so many projects. So it took me all the way until November 2021 to sit down, watch some videos 20 plus times to understand this whole concept of Coinbase, buying crypto, bridging, moving money, then learning about Polygon, etc. And it all began, and it was this incredible burst of energy. First of all, because we immediately found a community of young creators. NFT Kids magazine was thriving at that time. Give for Kids, the organization, was doing wonderful things, bringing in the art of kid creators within the NFT world and exhibiting them IRL. When this happened December 2021 in California, we get to interact with Varvara Alay, the founder of Flower Girls NFT project. Oh my God, she bought her art. There's this young man called K Burns and a lot of money. And December 24, 2021, he says, "I am going to make someone very happy today. Just share your art." And he chose Rainbow's art. And he paid 0.5 ETH. And at that time, that was a pretty big, good chunk.
Wow.
Yes, and I told Rainbow, "Look at what happened. Look what your art does because someone reacted to what you create. And we are in this world where there are no limits, no limitations, no questions being asked, and you are being compensated for what you do." So that was a huge motivator, and then we started meeting so many other incredible individuals. The one thing I noticed at that time, this is now January 2022, all of these spaces, I am the mother of a teen. Safety number one here in my household. A lot of the spaces were not safe for our young creators, so and then that's why I am a momager. I am watching out for what's out there. I monitor my daughter's social media and I let her know, let's talk before you post anything. And I realized there's a market, there's an opportunity, and Rainbow became the first young creator to ever become the host of, yes, Twitter Spaces at that time. And the response was magical. We brought in kid creators, promoting them, these wonderful adults, that understood young creators are a part of this process, must be a part of the process. And they came and spoke and they supported and they had the kids art in events. So I couldn't ask for more, as a parent, to understand there's a new world out there. There's a fantastic spectrum of opportunities, and most of all, they have nothing to do with the school system, because of course this is my inner struggle, and so is Rainbow. So it's very incensed. If she would be here, she will be immediately saying the school doesn't do anything for me, and it is true. And to put things in context, this is January 2022, everything that kept happening with all the different projects, and to this day still the issues with school continue, and it is very frustrating. But I go on to my sunshine. I go on to the light. I go on to that path of opportunity, and Web3 for the win. Yesterday, Rainbow had an awful day, practice testing, the frustration, how poorly handled it was by the school and its personnel. And I reminded her, just take a deep breath. You're gonna get through this. I'm here to help you, but don't forget you have Web3 just for you. And here we are, use and help making the decision to utilize the funds to open up the doors for so many of us, that have these wonderful ideas, but we lack guidance, we lack the funding, and you are creating that opportunity to once again confirm there are no limits and things can happen.
I wholeheartedly agree. My children are also on the spectrum, and we ended up we homeschool now. Not turning us into about that, but I noticed they were dampening their light through a lot of things, and so I try and push necessarily that sometimes this small window of school and all these other things, there's such a bigger world out there, and there's such a more connected place, and so even if in your immediate day to day it feels like you maybe don't fit. One of the great things I found about Web3, and I hope that we continue to push on this, is that there's truly a space for everybody, and it is a place where we've got this problem, or this is very dissatisfactory, or this just doesn't work for this group of people or this group of people. It's the problem solvers, it's the solutions. We want to move to this more open and yet connected world. And I think earlier you said you're not a tech person, but your journey still has been full of tech. Yeah. And I think that it started off very frictiony and hard, and you have to almost put on a school cap and learn a bunch of things. But I'm happy to say hopefully that tech burden is being reduced at every turn and every step that we take in Web3. So I'm super happy to hear that Web3 is kind of the light for her even on a darker day, because I do think that it's a place where magic can still happen, and I'm excited for that.
I agree completely, and the opportunities that continue to take place. And thank you for bringing that up, that the tech burden is being diminished without a doubt. And now I am the one who's super curious, and I want to learn about all of these things, because the more I learn, the more I can feed Rainbow this information in a way that she can absorb it. And this is why the project with Send Help, the campaign that is out there for Rainbow to fulfill this next step. And with so many layers, Roll Girls Rule second edition, seeking the funds so the book can be printed as a hardcover edition. But the reality here is the main goal being that many kids like Rainbow, with or without a diagnosis, who are presently digital illiterate, can have a guide, can have a tool to go to that is going to be in libraries, that hopefully, we're going to be pushing all the right buttons, that we're going to get school districts to get this book. It's going to be art oriented, number one. Art rules in Rainbow's world and in everything that she does, but also the need for information at the level of teens with the excitement, but also informational that is going to be generating that spark and that interest, and but also making sure that this generation between 10 and 18 years old do understand you need to acquire skills that are going to make you employable. And that is one of the main goals. I just spoke yesterday with Kirti Schuner, who is this incredible software engineer. We had met, of course, through Web3, and we saw her in California when we were there 2 weeks ago. And I told her, I want for you to do a write up from your perspective, thinking of you as a teen, but knowing what you know now. What is the importance of coding? And present some examples and share information on some of those links that kids can go to. Let's put in there a QR code. Most kids have a phone. So the book is going to be interactive. The book is going to be super fun, and just looking forward to all of the upcoming steps.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah, and I'm curious. I mean, I'm not a parent. I have a fur kid, not an actual child. But like for both of you, like I imagine that it's extremely challenging now, given what kids have access to in terms of like, I mean, you can only protect them to a certain point, right? They're still going to be around friends who have things like TikTok. And, I did see yesterday that Instagram was announced it was building a resource where you can have a teen account specifically, and you can have certain measures, but that only goes so far, right? Like, how do you navigate that in Web3 as well? Because she's 16, she's curious, she's probably making friends. Like, are there parameters, are there safety barriers in place here that you're seeing, or communities of like-minded parents like the two of you that are working to protect our young folks?
Yes, I will continue doing what I'm doing so far. And yes, Instagram or any of these other apps are going to be creating teen accounts. But like you said, they only go so far, especially when I'm here helping my daughter understand you are an entrepreneur and you're building those skills. So we're not going to be going to a space where she's going to be limited in terms of having access from the safety standpoint. In the meantime, I will continue to be the monitor of those accounts. And anything that is posted, we're going to talk about it. When she does videos, supporting her, making sure that her messages are targeted and are paying attention to what her goals are. Still being a teen, still being fun, but making sure that her branding, the main goal of getting that Rainbow Motion name, Road Girls Rule, that is the priority. And it is hard. There's no doubt about it. It is hard because I've seen her do some posts and I said, hold on 1 second. Sorry, you cannot say this way. Let's talk about it. Delete what you've done and let's make sure, that you do proceed to share information that is relevant to you as a branding, in regards to branding and in regards to your projects. But the safety, you read the stories. Some are wonderful and it is very impressive, but there are many horror stories out there, and I'm trying to avoid that for my daughter.
Yeah, just plus one to that. Like, I think most of the things I push for is like everything in public, right? Like direct messages, private messages, nothing good in the most part, even for me, comes from a direct message. If you want to like do business or you need help or something like that, like let's talk about it out in the open, right? Like moving to a private space usually like keeps eyes off to where someone's like, wait a second, that's a scam.
Right.
We just have it open out in the open. I think it's much easier to just surface those things. Everybody learns together, and if someone's on the up and up, then usually they won't mind. If someone's like, no, let's move to private, like again, like your wallet address, even if I'm going to pay you for something,
Thank you.
it's a public thing for a reason. Like, what's wrong if you share your wallet? Like, that's weird. And so I think it surfaces red flags and people that are dishonest to if there's a push for direct messages or to hide away from more eyes. It's an open, transparent tech by design. And so I really push with that for my kids. So if like no one that is any good is going to be against pushing for just like having a conversation in public. Someone that's pushing for private only usually has something. It's the red flag. So that's just my kind of like general rule for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. And again,
Oh, for sure.
my brain is going like ding, 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 ding. Let's make
Yeah.
sure we include a page on safety tips, in the
Oh,
book, even though those are all over the place. But again, the book, the guide is going to be making sure that we are addressing all of these relevant matters, for the teens as well as the parents that are going to be, browsing through this and ideally working with the kids with some of the activities. But yes, safety, just like we cannot repeat it, enough. And again, we live in a very different world. We all know it. We are all witnessing it. And that common effort that we are all making, making sure that we are keeping our kids wholesome and productive.
So you have been just incredible at getting Rainbow out on the speaker circuit, like introducing her to, key players in the space. She spoke at the UN. She spoke at NFT NYC, and I've had the privilege of hearing Rainbow speak not once but twice. And there was there was a standing ovation at one of them. There was tears. Like she has something really powerful in her message and the way that she's able to just inspire people and get people energized about the subject. Like what is like a big goal for you right now, or a big goal for her? I know she's not here with us today, but anybody who has the chance to ever see her speak, she is phenomenal. But what is like kind of that big thing that you're striving for, especially with this campaign that you have running with us right now? Like, what do you hope that the book will accomplish?
The From the Web3 scope, normalizing that reality that Web3 is here to stay, that Web3 will continue to transition, and we all play a part in it, in the different areas that we are good at. So you, Rachel, you have your fantastic expertise. Brock, the way your brain functions, how you create, you develop programs. Here I am as the parent of a creator, you know, bringing in the voice of my daughter and helping my daughter understand your voice matters. Thank you for reaffirming that, Rachel, as you've seen Rainbow speak. And yes, she has that charm, she has that charisma, she has that the owner, she's taken ownership of her presence. And she knows how to be funny, and she knows how to tug at the string, the heartstrings, and get people to react emotionally. And the main goal also from that regard would be to normalize her presence. That even when people may see her doing certain things, those behaviors that may be typical of individuals on the autism spectrum, that people say, yes, that's Rainbow. And just like, and let me give her a moment. Let me pause. She may need to release her sensory needs in a certain way, and then once I've done that, I can go speak with her, and immerse myself into what Rainbow has to offer. So that's like the major scope with the book. One of the super goals is like her dream, and she says it everywhere she goes. She wants to see her Road Girl stories and as an animated films. She wants to see them in Netflix, Amazon, anyone who will open the doors, and also with the book and what it offers, we realize we need to create a game. Why? Because again, the number of youth, which is the market we're targeting, how a game matters. And it is the life, as we know, of many kids with the hours that they spend in games. So the thought is initially Roblox, based on what it offers, the platform, what they've done, how they're doing it. And again, all of these are wonderful dreams that right now we are taking everything step by step, taking care of all these layers that have power and meaning with the book. Something that is happening right now, I approached 3 communities to do art calls, and some of the funding that has been received thanks to send help and thanks to other individuals, these funds are going to be used to host almost 100 artists in Times Square, November 15, 16, and November 18. Women in Tech, I know it's spectacular. Women in Tech Museum, One Love Art DAO, Irish DAO, and the Moon Mars Museum. These 4 groups are right now going wild. Submissions, beautiful, the power of the art. So all of these projects are just the learning possibilities for all of us. Rainbow just said it recently. This is not about me. This is about all of us. I am investing in me by investing in all of you. So it's going to be huge. It's wonderful. The hug supporting, doing a shout out post, congratulating Rainbow for this initiative, and again, it all happens because there are powerful communities out there that are embracing her, include her, and want to see her thrive as well. And we want to see everyone else thrive too.
That's awesome.
Amazing. Brock, I'll throw it to you. Any questions specifically about using
so the
help?
big, I guess just it would be good, I think, for some of our viewers to know like how they can help directly through Send Help, or like what are you currently looking for? How can they pitch in? And even if they maybe don't have the funds to push, what would be a call to action that they might be able to partake to help get this message out and get this book made?
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. A call to action. You don't have funding right now. It's all good. It's fantastic. Share the post, share the campaign. If you know of someone that has technical knowledge that must be included in a book for teens, reach out to us. We want to speak with you. The book we don't know everything. We don't have access to everything. So this is definitely a book that is a community effort. Thank you for posting. There's the campaign on Send Help. And right now, yes, the funding is ideal. Every little bit helps. Those who donate will receive an NFT created by Rainbow. That right there is the NFT, the Road Girl for Korea. She wrote this incredible story, and there she is. She put together this fun and beauty Road Girl from the Koreas. And the numbers are staggering. Thank you, Rachel. While we were in the process, understanding how to share key relevant information in a way that is not overwhelming, but also the need for data and those statistics, so all of that is included in there in a format that's easy to read and easy to absorb, and opening the doors. If you have more questions, go ahead and reach out, call us, and confirm, the purpose of this grand project, which is Road Girls Rule Second Edition.
So awesome. And we're going to drop this link right below the video. But you also did get a pretty significant windfall from a member of the community just a couple of weeks ago. Do you want to talk about, well, first of all, where that came from and what it's going to allow you to do?
Thank you. Yes. Well, during this whole marvelous trip to California, we were able to do, thanks to Rainbow, thanks to her art, where she spoke at the Gift for Kids conference. And Patty Monge, the founder of this powerful organization, as we were traveling up north in California, headed to San Francisco area and all the beauties to be seen there, I reached out to Nick Galliani, Tech Bubble, the founder of Vitruveo Chain, and what he's doing, creating a market for artists. And we had met him before in March, April 2023, where we met you, Rachel, at the NFT LA event. And
Yep.
he even got Rainbow to do be part of the fashion show and modeling there and everything, which was excellent. So I reached out to Nick and I said, "Hey Nick, this is what we're doing. We're gonna be in your area. Is there a possibility that we could meet?" He said, "Of course, I'm always ready to meet my wonderful artists." So we reached the area of Mountain View, and we had spectacular 2 hours with him. He drove us in his Tesla. He showed us the Google headquarters, Microsoft headquarters. He took us to a park so we can have a 10-minute breather before we continue driving, because as you know, in California, all you do is drive. And then as I'm explaining the book and the project and what we're doing, the Times Square exhibit, and he goes, okay, but this is all wonderful, but what's going to happen with the book? What's going on? What's the next step? I said, well, we want to print the book. We want to print 100 copies, hardcover for starters. Make sure the libraries receive them. It's just like, okay, so what's stopping you? It's like, well, we need money, we need funding. And he says, okay, so how much do you need? Just like, well, $2,500 will support supporting a page designer, and also making sure that we have enough funds to pay for the ISBN, all of these technicalities, and be able to print those 100 copies. and it says $2,500. It's like, good. Okay. Just very relaxed. I loved it. I wish I would have recorded him. Just send me your wallet address and we'll provide the support to take care of that. It's like,
Wow.
oh my God, Nick, so that's so meaningful. That's so powerful. Just like it's just the exactly what is needed in this process as a creator, as a builder, and me as a parent here helping my daughter understand, you have the charm, you have the charisma, but this is also what we do when we are sharing the project and being with someone who has the possibility and the means to support a project. And that is going to be happening. So we're super excited about that. And thank you, Vitruvio Chain. Thank you, Nick Kalyani. It's super exciting what you do and his vision as well.
Incredible.
That's awesome.
And it just speaks, the response of getting that support just speaks to the energy that you've brought and the attention and the commitment that you've had just over these last 2 or 3 years. It's not kind of like a fly by night project. Like, people believe in the vision because they see what you and Rainbow are capable of. And we know you're going to go the distance with this. So we're proud of you. We're proud of Rainbow. We're glad that we can support in our small little corner with Send Help. And we definitely encourage anybody who is, just cares about the next generation and how they kind of craft their journey in on chain and online. Definitely go check this out, because I know it's going to be an amazing resource for a lot of young people and parents. Brock, any final thoughts for Yadira?
So I know you said that the first is like a test print or 100 copies for libraries. Will this be available where like people like myself and others can purchase it, or what's the plan for that?
Definitely. They will also, utilizing the resources that are available. Rainbow already has 5 books in Amazon. So we're going to utilize those platforms, KDP, the Kindle Direct Publishing, also open it up so it can be found in the Barnes & Noble. I am learning the process as to how to make it available. So Target, so all of those are goals for placement, but without a doubt, the greatest connector, and this is where the funds are also going to be helpful, the greatest connector is going to be ideally the participation in the American Library Association conference next June in Philadelphia. And we want to be there with the book, because that is going to be the connector to the libraries in the school systems, because that's going to be, and to have Rainbow there, go and shake hands and tell people, you need my book in your school because of this, and that, so that's also a big plan of the goal, and the funding where it's going to be supporting that path as well.
Got it. Awesome.
Yes.
Amazing. Well, thank you for spending some time with us today. I know you are super busy, super mom. So thank you for all that you do. And please give Rainbow a big hug from us.
I sure will. And she sends both of you her hugs and all the care in the world. And see you soon. And thank you for the opportunity one more time.
Of course.
Much love.
Yeah.
Much love.
Take care.
She's such a wonderful beam of light and energy.
Agreed.
All right.
I'm excited for that to come to fruition, and I think that's something that Web3 can probably rally behind. Of like, one, helping get the rest of the donations needed for all the current plans, but then putting it out, and then I'm sure there'll be some kind of like on-chain component to it. But it'll just be really cool to see, something that is from an idea and a concept through the fabric of Web3, and then back to physical, and then now inspiring more people. It's a cool thing.
It was interesting because I feel like we saw, because I've been here since 2020, right? And so I've seen kind of the journey and flow of people that have come in and out of the space. And, obviously Nyla was huge. Nyla Hayes is the first, young artist that was ended up being the first ever TIMEPieces artist in residence. Got these huge deals, like ended up selling out multiple collections. And I think that was like, she was like just such an outlier of what other kind of collections and art we were seeing at the time. And it was like, wait a minute, there is something here for young people. Like, this is not just a degen culture, like there is something here. And then to see the kids that have come through, is just amazing. Like, you know, G for Great is awesome. Rainbow's doing amazing things. And just see every year that I go to the conferences, that little group of kids and parents gets a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. And I think it's just, it's a really exciting thing to see that happening. I think it legitimizes the space, you know, in a deeper level. So very excited to see it.
Yeah, me too. Even just my own kids, she saw like from the creation and the idea of fiches to like where it is today. And so she's like, I've got an idea for a project. And like every couple of months she kicks out like, here's what I want to, here's how I want this to work. Yeah. And so not only is it like the concept, but it's this infinity canvas of creativity and storytelling and sharing like bits of themselves to that other people can relate to, and seeing that like, oh, I really like this about this, but that's actually like a mirror of the creator in a way too. And yeah, it's really cool to see that how open this technology is, and it keeps getting more and more approachable for people to do whatever they can think up and not have to worry about like, not have to ask for permission to just exist and express themselves in a way. And then again, hopefully we can push on the safety side of it too. But yeah, it's just really great to see on so many fronts the expansion of being on chain.
Yep. And speaking of the expansion of being on chain, Base has been cooking again. We saw Base around the world buildathons come to a close last week, with over 700 projects submitted from thousands of builders across Latin America, Africa, India, and Southeast Asia. And now there's a series of meetups that are happening globally, kicking off in a week's time in Buenos Aires. And we will see meetups in Nairobi, Bangalore, Bangkok, Singapore, and Manila. So Base is globally shipping right now.
Yeah.
In addition, we saw Jesse drop a video this week in AMA where he was talking about just the relationship between Coinbase Wallet and Base and how he sees those two things coming together. Just one kind of takeaway, and it kind of echoes something you said earlier today, Brock, was, you know, they're trying to be a bridge and not an island. Just speaking to that interoperability again. So, you know, love what we're seeing from Base as always on a global scale. It's happening.
Yeah, it's I think it's once it becomes easy and approachable, and there's different concerns in different countries about like, it's like, oh, it's just $4. I worked for a company where it's like, it's just $4, but like some places $4 is a whole lot more than you think.
Yeah.
And so it's good that's being looked at on a bigger scale and creating, you know, we talk about like a creator economy, but there's literally creating like a borderless global economy with like value that's pegged to whether it's a dollar or whatever kind of currencies that you're looking at, because they're spinning up other global currencies in the digital form as well, and then those can all work together. So it's removing friction, as much as like we talk about like the friction to get on chain is getting less and less, but like it's removing friction from like with places that don't have the infrastructure to just like you have a cell phone that works. And again, even that can be a bit, but we're seeing like cafes, like internet cafes, running out of like shipping containers in some places that are solar powered, that then now can empower global commerce and start exporting things that are special to certain villages or certain countries. And so it's really tapping into this, like we all spawned in random spots on this globe, and we have these imaginary borders that kind of like separate us, but those are fading away more and more for just like, I want the best X. I want this that has a story behind it, and being able to get access to that through the digital and physical means. It's just it's leveling us up as a species. I think, as weird as that sounds, to where we can all work together instead of, you know, worrying about this is my spot. Like, no, we can all work together, and it's super cool to see.
So you and I were ideating off. I was going to say off chain, but offline. Yeah, we're never off chain. We were ideating about the fact that I'm on this island for just over another week now. I've been here for almost a month. And one of the things that I'm striving to do while I'm here is to onboard the very small amount of businesses that are here onto Base and be able to accept Base. And just kind of thinking out loud about that process and, you know, ways to onboard people just in general who are really nowhere near to crypto.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so for those that don't know, there's a shed, and I don't know if you found a shed and you're converting it into like an actual pay as you go trust system kind of store. And so there'll be different types of products there. Like there's, like you said, like there's a fridge for like selling like actual like fish and other things and stuff like that. And so
I'm just trying to find a picture of the shed so I can show everybody.
Yeah. And you've been, I think on socials, you've been sharing like some videos here and there too of like its kind of progress. And so like it's close to being done there. And instead of taking cash, like what if you could get everybody to take crypto, like USDC, and have them pay? And so we were talking through like maybe getting like a QR code that like goes to a video where people can like be welcome to the shed, learn about like where things are, and then learn about like we take USDC. And that is a digital currency, and I wouldn't even say crypto, but and then show them like, okay, just here's how to fund a wallet, here's how to, oh my gosh, yeah. And then from there, you could also like leave pamphlets or something behind of like you can take USDC at your like business, or you can accept these payments, and here's why it's cheaper, it's instantaneous, there's no backsies kind of thing. There's proof that it happened instead of like, oh no, I paid you. Like it removes all of these things, and the friction for it is just sign up and then like fund it off of a credit card or your bank account just to get started. And even if the small island gets like $1,000 that they all just kind of pay each other back and forth, like that's literally turning this into like an on-chain destination, and it can be on-chain island. And for me, I think it's super cool because there's a narrative behind that of like a lot of people are pushing for this, and these case studies to where this island, which probably is not a hot tourist spot, I don't know, now starts to get more kind of money injected into this because of accepting this crypto. And I think that's one of the untold stories, is that there are people that are looking to be able to like continue, and they get excited and passionate about this. And so giving them a destination to go and maybe learn more about the area, about some of the wildlife, about all the other cool things of like why you traveled there.
Yep.
Also, someone's space becomes an Airbnb that's a little more profitable, or a coffee shop gets hit with a lot more traffic, and they're able to expand and then pay somebody that they wouldn't have been able to hire otherwise. Like it's this cascading effect of just letting the money flow to all these places that maybe it wouldn't have gone before, and you don't have to ask permission. And so I think it's pretty cool. And even if it's you just get you're selling some stuff and you're making USDC and they're sending it back and forth, even if it never grows bigger than that, you still put an island on chain in like you said, a month that you were there. And so if you can do that, what's holding anybody else back from chasing their passions?
Right. And even just thinking about like the layers that you can kind of bake into that, like, yes, layer one is obviously having the businesses accept crypto. Layer two is ensuring that people who shop at these businesses now understand that this is not scary. But also then layer three, I was thinking as we were chatting, it's like building in experiences. Like, okay, now you have a wallet. Here's something really cool. We've planted these QR codes around the island where you can go and claim things. And maybe it's a discount, maybe it's a free cup of coffee, but you have to go do a thing. And now you're understanding how digital assets can work, like how it's beyond currency,
Yeah.
So
or even making it to where it's like someone has like the best sunset on the island, and they take a picture of it and they can mint that. And then if you scan the QR code by that spot, you can take one with you, kind of thing. Like it's making, like you said, the experiential piece that just, sure, I can take a picture of it with my phone, but like here's this snapshot in time. And then even coming away with like take one, but like leave one, like here's how to make your own snapshot, and then have this ever-growing library of people taking snapshots over time. And that's the cool stuff, right? Like that's the making something even more magic than it is. And not saying like, oh, I gotta look at this beautiful sunset, let me take my phone out, and like I get like devices and whatnot, but like being able to create that history of like you were here, and here's the time, like here's the time you took that photo, and you're now part of a mesh of other people that have shared that same experience. I think that adds, it's using technology to add instead of like take away or take you out of the moment. So.
Love that. So let's see, a couple of final things. Blueprint has its submissions open. So let me just remove this. So we have an opportunity for creators. There it is. Okay, so blueprint.bello.lol has an accelerator program where you can get up to $30,000 to spend growing your audience. So we are going to drop this below the video. Great opportunity for creators. I think their last cohort did really well, so they're just essentially launching this again. So very exciting. And I think we can probably got 2 minutes. We can probably squeeze in one other story. Anything else?
World Coin, I think,
No.
changed their name to World Chain, and they're now like 15 million users strong. And I'm still hesitant on the whole like let me scan my iris thing because I've done iris scanning things prior to, but hopefully that becomes let more people test it first, and then maybe. But
Exactly.
but the cool thing I think with that is the concept is proving that you're a human rather than like a bot, and then giving humans priority access on chain and and like paying for their gas and stuff. So it's like a way. I think proof of pulse is going to become like a hot topic sooner rather than later. It's already kind of there, and so finding a way to prove that you're a human and like that, linking that to a wallet that only you control is kind of that. Like it's using the technology to make that 1 foot fence to try and fight someone from spinning up like 1,000 bots to where whatever your opinion is, just shoving it down a comment section and trying to sway things. Like there would be able to, in theory, you'd be able to like, I posted a comment and like it's linked to my account, which then has my wallet, and you can see that I've got a history of like 10 years on chain. Like that now lends more weight than, oh, this user Heather Smith 6242, they really disagree with this, but their account was just made today and they don't have a linked account and they're not linked to like world. Like it starts to I think you can start to, not only is it preferential treatment as far as like having your transactions and stuff go through and your gas paid, it could lend into like your comment is like actually shown or even elevated because you're a human, rather than these people that are not taking the necessary steps to kind of prove themselves to be a legitimate human. And so not trying to get all like tinfoily hat where like everything's AI or dead internet theory or anything like that. But the I think it's a solution potentially to a lot of the things that we're starting to see and have been seeing. And so we'll see where it shakes out. But 15 million people already, that's a big number. So
that's wild. So it's been a big week on the Superchain, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to drop some of these links below the video so you know where you can find all of the stuff that we've covered in the show. But we will be back again same time next week. We're going to try to keep these under an hour. Look at this. I think we did it. But yes, Superchain Spotlight. Thanks everyone for joining us. We appreciate you.
See you.